All right, so as the story goes, I looked upon the face of the earth, and I seen what looks to be as a barren angel. An angel that was bringing something to this world. What it is, I do not know. Thank you so much for joining me for the Ultimate Files. In this video, we're going to be talking about the revelation and the revealing. I'd just like to say a real quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I would love for you to send a message to the masses, to the world, and let them know that your creation and the way that you had shaped this earth, that it be as you will, and that it be shown to save those that are sick, that are lame. Because without you, we will not be able to live within your light and your just and your Lord of thyself from this creation and this revelation. God, thank you for revealing this to me. And thank you for showing this to me. Let it be known that this is to bring people closer to you, and you use this for good. Now, there's a reason why I have prayed this prayer, because many of those are out there will scrutinize this perspective in this way of thinking. Not only that, it is up to you and ultimately up to your decision to whether or not if this is something that would be pertinent into your life. So many things have played in the past few years, since 2021. This is the story of God holding back what is on the other side, or things that are trying to come through into this world just to be able to keep you for eternity. So I looked upon the face of the earth, and I seen a barren angel. And if you do not see what I see, that is okay. This story is intended to show you that the power of what God has, whatever your creator is, no judgment. But I am not holding back. As I looked upon the face of the earth, I seen an angel, a bearing angel. He was bearing witness. If you have an opportunity, please pause the video if you are looking to see what I am seeing and from the perspective. As you can see right here, this is a face. Right here, you can see that there is an arm that is holding something. And then also you can see the wings that are spanning off from the head to the left. As we see the bearing angel, we'll take a minute to kind of circulate a little bit so that you can kind of focus in on the perspective. But not only that, I looked upon the face of the earth and I've seen two altars, one of a cross and then one of a plateau. God makes many different pictures, and he paints with a brush so swiftly, so beautiful, so creative, things that we cannot perceive. There are many times in our life where we have been in those situations where we cannot see what's in front of us, but later down the road, we come to find out what God's meaning was. When I looked upon the face of the earth and I seen the barren angel, it was bringing something to the council. Why, you say? If you take a look at the trajectory of where his face is and his intentions are of the arm, you can see the council that's over to the right of this. They're in hoods. And not only that, if you look closer, you can see a goat. Many times in representation of symbolism, goat represents something that we are often too familiar with, which is dark energy, Baphomet, many different things you can conspire with a goat. You can see the horns that are facing up at the top right here, and as we zoom out closely, you can see the goat in this area. Now, as we go over, we can look back and we can take it from an oil painting perspective, as if this was a painting on the wall. And then there was actually depth, perception, and reality that is all unfolding in itself. We need to be in a fifth dimensional type of thinking. This dimensional type of thinking will be able to help you coincide with the perspective. As I looked upon the face of the earth, a scorpion around the bend, with the council and the barren angel, there was an accuser or something of judgment or a warning. You can see right here, this is the crown on the top of 3, or the horns of 3. This person is actually in somewhat simulation to even a man carrying a bow. But it's kind of childlike in a sense. With this, you can see what looks to be as a plateau, which this is actually the part that brought me and to this area first. Was this plateau of this mountain top? People have made depictions or had made some congruency to alien spaceships or what have you in different locations around the world, that these were airstrips of some sorts. Taking into account of everything, of all history and everything, because we have no starting point. We have no way to understand or know. As we zoom out, we can see right where the accuser is here. You see the barren angel here. You see the altars here. And you see the council here. Behind this, it looks to be as trees that is shaping out behind this. Not only that, if you take a look, I tried to make some type of congruency between this barren angel and this, but the only thing I could represent this as is some type of nativity scene in some sorts, if you were to take a look. But there was a cry or a warning for peace. Do me a favor right now. Take your hand and create a peace sign facing you on your right hand. And what do you see? You see a peace sign. This peace sign comes along right here. And if I zoom out and you look at it for quite some time, it may take you a few minutes to get into the perception of the fifth dimension. I know what you're thinking. This is crazy. Why even waste the time to do this? Well, many different discoveries have been made from a scientific standpoint around the world. We have angels being dug up that proclaim that has been thousands of years old over in Russia. You have alien spacecrafts that are being found on Google imaging. You have the Nazi lines. There is even the Egyptians. To my knowledge, in this area on this island, the only type of settlers that have been here is the Emu, I believe. Also, Vikings have visited this territory. Back in the late 1500s, they were looking for a search of Valhalla. So, it got me wondering even further. I said, what else is there along this island? Oddly, something that is shaped as an arrowhead. And we are talking about a span between, at a point, 5 miles long. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Not only that, you're talking about a island or this area that covers between the point here and point right here, right? So, going back, this island is very big, and you can see like this whole nativity scene around here. Maybe I can actually show you now, having some creative thought here. Going back, there's the face, there's the bearing of something, there's the arm, there's the wing, right? And then here's the body. Right here is the cross, the plateau, the council, which is right around this area, and right here. I even had a depiction of what they would say Revelations in the end times. It's even talked about the dragon, even so. You could take a look at this, and it kind of resembles like a type of dragon tail or something like that. But I kind of scored that one out in the discernment. Now, as I go forth, I look upon the face of the earth, and I seen another angel. This angel, and pertinent to my story, I named him Arturo. Why? It was just the first feeling or name that had came to me. But you can see on the face of the side of this mountain is this huge thing, right? And you look at it, and it looks like it is an angel. There's the wings. It came down, and it's kneeling down as if it was a maybe possible fallen angel. Now, my big homework assignment that I'm still having questions about. Number one, let's go back over here to this area. What is this witness trying to point at? If you take a look, it's a finger of some sort right around here, right? What is this area that's right over here? Why does it look so much like a native arrowhead? You know, what is it pointing at? You know? Now, at this point, I was going through some transitional phases in my spirituality, and I came across a story. It's a little cartoon character on YouTube. And he had this explanation about the god El and the battle, and the goddess, and one of the gods had sacrificed himself, which will come more apparent later on, and it did for me as well. It looks to be as a whole head, or a head from the side, and the whole island itself is cut off. And what was strange to me as I look further and further into it is a half of a heart. If you were to look at the blood flow pressure of our vasculatory system of a heart, you would take a look and you would kind of see something resembling the channels here, right? This is bringing my ancestors and everything into this as well. Between Native American, Viking, and Irish, every type of descent that I've been from. So they actually found along in this area, I believe, they found artifacts of Vikings, tools, and they found it all the way from the tippy top all the way down. Which would stand to reason if they would come in and they would pour in right here, and then they would use tools around this area. This is an inhospitable place, a place that's been under ice several different times throughout the ages, and also recently has been melting, you name it. But as I go further along, I promise you everything will start to come into place. I wondered what else is around this area. If I have something that is so beautiful and magnificent as this, a nativity scene, a peace sign, angels, a representation, or, what have you. I mean, you can even say there's even a mountainside that they even proclaim to say that it looks like a petrified mountain of a elephant. Huge elephant, massive, way, way bigger than the ones we've ever had. You're talking about the size of this mountain right here. And this mountain right here, if I have you, we add some points here. This is almost 1.25 of a mile in length, right? Okay. I did at one point in time, I found a verse. I have to go back and look for this, but I measured this out, and this island is like over 600 square miles. You measure from this point right here to at least this point, that's 50 miles. About 50 miles in length from the throat. Okay. And then we take it from, I'd say probably about like right here, and then measure on over, but we'll start right here. And then drag ourselves across over here. That right there is nearly 40 miles. So it's a pretty big square miles of itself. I looked around and I said, what else is there? What else could be around this area? And from this point right here on this island, I said, what is that? That looks interesting. It looks as to be a man kneeling, and he has some type of, I'm not too terribly sure the technological term of it, a fez of some sorts. And, there's many different cultures that could play with that, but it looks like it's a man on his knees on some type of bench praying. You can see the hands right here and the facial outline right here. I mean, I was on a search for giants, aliens, and everything. I had to ask God. I said, "Please show me something." I said, I want to proclaim your name, and I want you to be the one to be in the forefront of this. Good or bad, you'll make it good." And I looked upon the face of the earth, and I seen this praying man with a snake at its belly. If you take a look, it looks to be as a snake at its belly. Now, let's go ahead and move around. I said, okay, I'm looking around, and I look along this island right here. I said, okay, God is simple. I said X marks the spot. And what I mean by X is right here. So I said, okay, God, tell me what you want me to see here. And as I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool there. And immediately it clicked. I said, that looks like a finger right here. This looks like a finger too, you know? And then I kind of got to the point where I zoomed out, and I seen this hooded figure right here. And it's pointing out right here. And as I looked upon the face of the earth, I automatically thought of Michelangelo's painting. And I said, okay, and I'm looking around, and I turn it, and I'm like, this looks like a boat. It looks like a boat. And I looked up and I said, oh my Lord. What is that? If this is a boat right here, then it stands to reason that this is a man right here. And you have this shadow figure of its kind, and it's pointing, but it's also touching. So I'm like, I did not say it was Jesus or Yeshua, but I leaned towards it further and further as I went along, because if you look right here, it looks to be as a corner of a book. There's the head right here. And for those that have a struggle with abstract, let's take a look. So I point right here. Okay. I don't want to close it. So there's the boat. Okay. Now let's go back, and above this boat there looks to be as a man. Let's see, he stands this tall, and I'm trying to connect the dots right now. At a point, let's say that's the armpit right there. There's the elbow. And there's many different things that you may depict out of this area. That's okay. That's supposed to be something that's relevant, maybe close to you, but in the biblical sense, this looks to be as a man. We'll add the boat back in there. So as you can see, this is some type of revelation of its kind. And not only that, as we went further along, we can see right here, there are two flags that are flying. And if you have a hard time seeing that, I'd be happy to locate that with the adder point. I'm going to go right here. Here. Point right there. Point right there. So when I take this away, you should be able to depict the two flags flying. Now, it's at this point where I come to the conclusion in this artistic perspective that a giant, like the word giant had just screamed out to me. And I come out and I said, oh, wow, that's interesting. There is a giant. This giant is huge. You're talking about there's the eye, there's the mouth, and here is the head. And this long beard right here. Right? And there's a whole skeletal system to this. You can see that this is the arm right here, and this is the back vertebrae. He's sitting down upon the side of the mountain. And there's the foot along right here. Okay? Now, when I came to this conclusion, I said, well, God paints many different fixtures and has many different meanings in one image. Knowing God and understanding Him, you can see this upside down as the cloak Michelangelo was painting. And you look at it, the beard goes along there, there's the hooded figure, and then there's the beard, right? So you can see in this context, there's many different types of images that can be seen within this. But it's astounding to say that all of this is in one area. It is hard to say that these type of formations and these erosions and everything that plays into this is beyond our comprehension and is quite supernatural of its kind. So let's go ahead and draw out. I called him El. His name is El. The man in the boat is Yeshua. And if we take the point right here, let's see how big he is. I haven't quite done this yet. Let's go down about right there. Add another point. Another point right there. I want to say he's sitting right about there. And there. Matter of fact, let's go back. that right there. So this is 50 square miles in total. Now, when I got to this part of understanding and seeing Michelangelo's painting Yeshua in a boat, I came to the realization, if he is holding a book of some sorts, and this book would be right here in this corner. Let's take a look at the fact that the action of him in the boat holding a book, is looking at something. Let's take this into account. Let's triangulate what they are looking at or trying to convey. Okay. The visualization of the point of where they're looking. You can see L is looking at something. He is preaching to something, or, doing the reading out of this Bible in the boat. Well, I come to the conclusion they were looking at something that resembled this. I'm going to leave it here for just a few seconds. This as a representation, what looks to be as the beast, or the fallen one, or the devil himself. When I came to this revelation of this scene, it was so apparent to me. God is trying to tell us something. He's trying to show us something through the communications that we have, the technology that we have, and the capabilities. Not only this, we can talk about debunking later, but relevant to this whole scene here, you can say that either side of the story that you want to tell, as I mentioned earlier in the prayer, that God is holding back something with L, and it's the beast coming out of the midst of the waters. You explain that to me. This is a perspective, yes, but in the supernatural sense, the fifth dimensional sense, let's take a moment to understand this a little bit more. In one dimension, let's use the ocean for example, you can see right here, Google is listed out in a format or copyright, I should say, or at sign, 2023, and it has Google. Okay, so a point, right? 1 point is 1 dimensions, right? This along here is 2 dimensions, copyright or at 2023 Google. With this, we are in conjunction to say that this is two-dimensional. Now, we as people, okay, this is one dimension, two dimension, three dimension. You have length and depth as three dimensions. Four dimensions, okay, is height. So let's go back to this point. So height, right? So now we have four dimensions, right? Height, width, depth. Then we go into the fifth dimension, right? The fifth dimension is what we would call a tetrahedron. This might take a minute, folks, so bear with me. I do appreciate your patience. This is a live representation of a tetrahedron. Okay. Let's see if I can get it just right. Got quite a bit there. No. Anyways, it's a cube within a cube, and it's oscillating. I'm sure you can visualize that. So I did a lot of soul searching. I wanted to write a book about this. I took a whole year of studying this area. All of my research had got wiped out with everything that I had on my phone. iPhone is not the greatest when it comes to storage and letting you access your phone to delete storage. It doesn't say, hey, your storage is out and you cannot access your phone anymore. It just shuts off and it does not let you. So a lot of research has been done into this, a lot of time and thought and prayer. The message I want to convey with this is just that God, or El and Yeshua, is holding back something from this world, coming from a lower dimensional plane. Now, for those that have not had an opportunity to look at the UTL files, understand the story, that's okay. There will be plenty of opportunity. Go take a moment to look at the story of the Ultimate Files, and you'll understand the upbringing, past, present, and future, the science and mythology and everything that had aspired in to leading up to this moment. Content is being created as we speak, but this is not for evil intentions. Folks, we need to pray. We need to pray as much as we possibly can. Something that you right now have the opportunity to do. It just takes a second. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray with you in the boat. I pray that you keep what the forces that are out of this world. I turn to you and I welcome you into my heart. Jesus, Yeshua, El Shaddai, heal this land. and come upon this earth. If it is your will, then so be it. But if it's the will for us to turn back to you, let that be the message. Continuing on, as I looked around further, I seen what looks to be a Roman soldier, at least a helmet of sorts. You can see right here. Here's a helmet. There's a face. There's the lips right there on the pointer. There is some type of shoulder sash. And you look and you're like, okay, this is kind of interesting to try to depict. You're seeing a little bit more and more in depth with this. If you take a look, behind is the wings right here, right? He's in some type of armor. But I ask you this, folks. Does an angel carry its sword on its hip or on its back? Ironically, this looks to be as a handle of a sword. And you can see clear as day an angel that is in the face of the mountain upon this earth. I assure you, this is not edited in whatso imaging form. This is raw imaging from Google, cross-referencing to other planes of satellite imaging of other sources. There is the complete depiction of this scene right here, as if it was talking, it was saying something, and it's speaking to you. Now, there are other images in this area. You can take a look at right here. It looks to be as two lovers kissing, right? So there is a story that of old gods that had to love each other in order to create balance in the world. And then I also had found this right here, not too sure, but it looks to be as like this huge giant, this other giant, this right here. And it's looking down on something, like it's holding something in its arms. But there's many things that you can kind of depict from this area. And I would say that it has a lot of biblical sense to it, and old and renowned. The other thing that I came across was, while studying and researching this area, in my personal spirituality, there was a fox that came across my path, and at that time, this is when I discovered it. So I came and took it into a spiritual message. I looked on the face of the earth and I seen a fox. This fox was over what looks to be as a area. And later on, I had come to the realization with technology and the suggestions that was popping up that it was some type of relevance to this. It was a story of the fallen one, the one that we call Lucifer, the devil. If you do not know this story, the story, short term, is that he came and fell, sent to hell, and he pled his case to the Krishna and Krishna, sin and death. And the first thing that I thought to myself is when I first seen this was the fox here. But I looked at this and I said, oh, that kind of looks like a skulled man, you know, like, or with a hood. But what was weird is that this looked to be as a resemblance of a woman, as if she was looking off to the side. The arm is right here. The hair is flowing right here. And when death and the devil had conspired, death obliged and handed him a key. You're looking at this in real time. This looks to be as the key right here, a skeleton key. Maybe drawing this out a little bit. For those that do not have faith in, that's okay. You have the opportunity right now to welcome Jesus into your heart. He will accept you. But this area looks to be as a key. Now let's go back. If you take a look at this area, and we were to, let's just say, from this perspective, that this was sin and that this is death. He's holding a key, and this key is broken to open the door, or one of many doors in hell. When he fell, he created sin and death, which was lust, gluttony, everything along the way from his fall. Now, these are, if you see these right here, just know that these are solar flares. I mean, they can have some representation. If you look at it long enough, it could have some type of pixelization, as if it was a picture that was pixelated, right? But we're not taking these into account. There's only one that I would actually consider taking into account, which was over in El's beard. Now, this is all done with a sober mind, but there was a lot of transitions, and God was speaking to me. You know, if you take a look at this area, this looks to be as a door right here. And then this looks to be as a table with glasses, or like even a book, some books right around here. But if you stared at this long enough, you would start to kind of formulate some imagery in your head. And you could see as if this was like a man standing right here and another person standing right here. And it's like a room, you know. But what was ironic is that God acts in mysterious ways, as we know. And I looked at it and I said, this looks like the pop-up toy, like Fisher Price, you know. And he's reaching out. He's really reaching out. I promise. But even so, what came apparent to me as if you have followed along with the UTL files, I came across what was known to be as a shadow man, a guy with a top hat. And this is what kind of drew me to this section here. And it looked to be as like even a tear. If you were to think about Stranger Things, right? Let's think about that. This looks like a tear, like in reality, in the landmass, right? You can see what looks to be as maybe a planet, or, you know, a desolate scene trying to come over into this reality, what have you. But you can see right here, this looks like to be like a horned creature of some sorts, right? Now, remember the angel with the Roman helmet, right? What does this look like? It looks to be as a Roman helmet off to the side, but a man sitting on some type of throne. So here's his head right here. There's his whole body. And here is the throne behind him. Above the throne, if you can see, is what looks to be like a Hanukkah. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. I mean, if you like to, you can throw in a sword or a cross right behind them. But this area, if we were to go right around this and then go down, let's add that point. So that area right there. And this, what makes it so congruent is that it looks to be as some type of watcher. A watcher that was looking over this tear, right? Now, there is a story of when El and the goddess had children, and El would not stop eating the babies. Even so, there is a story that's out there of biblical proportions that when the woman's womb is torn, right, and her skirt is blown out, that this is the sign of the end times, right? But if we take a look at this area here, revealing this island here, you remember the half-headed cut off head was the god that had actually stepped in front and he got his head severed. And she got mad, turned into a dragon, all of that. But if you take a look, this whole island looks to be as a woman. There is the breast, there is the face, right here, the face. There is the eyes, there is the mouth, and what looks to be as her skirt is blown out, right? She's wearing some type of skirt, and it is blown out. Now, let's talk about the anatomy of the woman island, right? We are literally stepping into Moana territory. Now, let's look at the eyes, right? What does the eyes entail over in this area? Well, the eye, which is the retina behind the eye, right, is that angel, right? Now, let's take a look at where the nose is, which is in this area. Haven't really found much in here, but your imagery or perspective may be in variance to that. But the lower lip, right? The upper lip, right, is that creature. And this is the upper lip area, because here is the openness of her mouth along here, right? Now, if we take a look, this is the tip of El, his head, the top of his head. Let me ask you, what is the 4 letters that depict God's name? Yahweh, right? It's the breath, it's the tongue, right? It's the one that creates the words and speaks, right? So we take a look, the mouth is right here, and El is the tongue, Now, what's apparent in this area, though, which is the jaw, right? The lower half of the jaw, is what looks to be as some type of man seeing a vision. He's looking at something, and he's in this type of device. And this might be a little bit harder to see, so I'll go ahead and put the points on it. So we'll do this. Start from the chin. Work our way right here. Work our way right here. Here. Oh, come on now. There. 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 And go up here. Appreciate your patience. Thank you. Now, what's interesting is that this area, which would be his hand, and then this area right here would be his elbow, is that his hand is on L's head, right? Now let's go back, right? So now you can kind of take a second to look at this. Behind him is this looking device, as if you were to think about the Matrix, right? And where we're headed, exactly. But what is strange is that when I look down in here, this looks to be as some type of like cavern or cave, like at this point on the pointer. Looking further in this area, in the reverse, upon this, it looks to be as like, if you're thinking about a man sitting at a piano, the arms right here, beard is right here, head is right here. And even so, above L's head, it looks to be as, you know, some type of eye, and a mouth right here. And then a head kind of right there, right? So take a few seconds to look at that. You're more than welcome to take a look at this, but this is for everybody here. But if we take a look right at the back of her throat, coming down from the X, where we had earlier, coming down, you can see, if you were to think about your anatomy, comes back at the throat, goes down, and then keeps going, and then we have the first cataclysm, which is the Watcher, which is right here in reverse. And we have the scar on the earth, right? But continuing on down, and then to the belly, we have the gate. And what I find interesting is that even though you come to this area, it completely is cornered off. There's no rendering. We'll talk about debunking now, because without a good hypothesis, you have to test the theory. So with this area, why is it blocked off? It's interesting for me. It's a big question mark. There's no telling. To the history of this island, there's settlers that live along here. This island is Devon's Island. They call this Devon's Island. Not only this, but Hell's Island. You can depict that from the imagery. If we were to take a look at the And ironically, January, as I was studying this, I had been showing my friends and family and also sharing this. And I found it interesting in January that they came to the crater in this area. So if I take my little person, wait a second, take my little person, we're going to go down to the street view of this place. Oh wow, something happened there. Yeah, a bunch of guys on four-wheelers. They were scientists or researchers. Who knows what they were doing in this area. But obviously they had some type of deal going on. There was one point in time where I had seen a bike in this area. If you can find the bike, you win a prize. Let's go over here to this area. This would be the center point of where the crater is. I take that back. The center point would be probably this mountaintop. So let's take another look. And keep in mind, this has been under ice, snow, all of that for quite some time. It was just recently since 1990 or 1980 that we had some really climate changes that had started happening. We're on top of some guy's helmet, I can tell you that right now. These tracks will be there for quite some time too. It looks like it does get rain. But the standpoint of this is there's 2 points to this, is that we have a collective conscious that creates a vibrational type of wave. And within our beliefs that we have created something that has happened in our belief system that made something in this area. We're always looking north, and also if you were to think about Dr. Emoto, for example, he states that through water there is structure, and with that structure there is a type of impact. So if we keep on the path that we are going, this will be our demise, our final destination. The last part I want to add to this is that we all know partly of Devon's Island. Some people speculate that there was pictures that was taken from Devon's Island for the Mars rover project. Let's take a look at the Resolute, right? What is the Resolute? The Resolute is a scientific research base, right? A whole airport right here. Find it ironic how close all of this is to this area. They have a research facility, I believe, somewhere along here. Let me find it. Nope. Don't see it. Not there. Also, there is a image. The reason why I wanted to make sure this prayer had gotten done in the beginning of this is because there is a tale of a fool or a magician. Well, I found the magician and I didn't open it. Needless to say, this is the story. Thank you so much for joining the UTL Files and taking a moment to look over this. I do appreciate it. It is a long video. But the last speculation that I want to make is some say that some say that over in Africa. Let's see, the eye. It's somewhere around here. There's the eye of God. There it is. They say that this was actually, or speculated to be, Atlantis, right? This is the eye of God, or as they called it. But yeah, folks, you look on the face of the earth, you don't see anything of a replication of such things. Even in Russia, you're looking around. I looked around and I did not see anything. And what's so funny is that there was one other thing that had caught my eye. I have lost it in the midst of everything. But there looks to be as like there was a lion or something that was breathing fire in the desert. But from the artistic view and from the point of view and perspective, this matches up to biblical and other culturalistic views. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Know that you are loved and you are loved by God, and He will never forsake you. If you feel like you have, question yourself on your motives for sure.